Hello, my name's Linda Deschamps. This video is a step-by-step guide on how to apply a medial buttress to a shoe. So a medial buttress, as your notes have said, is material that's helping to support the medial side of a shoe. It spans the outsole, the midsole, and the upper in order to support the upper. It's used often in a flexible pes planus foot, so a foot that collapses but is flexible and we want to hold it up. So when an orthotic isn't enough or isn't used for many different reasons, sometimes just filling in this space, so from the point where the side of the shoe comes down, we want to fill this area to give it more support. If you look at this shoe in particular, you'll see that they pronate, and we want to, again, give it a little bit more strength to the upper of the shoe by filling in material here. So the first step is to find the positioning of your medial buttress. As the notes say, you want to go mid-calcaneus. So find out where the heel sits and go halfway through. We're going to go about here. We're going to go inferior to the navicular, which is roughly in this area. We don't want it to interfere and put pressure on that bony area. And on the distal end, we want to go proximal to the first metatarsal head, which is here. We don't want to interfere with the flex point of the shoe, and we also don't want to have added pressure at the metatarsal head itself. So it's going to end roughly in this point. So once we've drawn everything on the shoe, we're going to show roughly where we want to have our buttress added in. It's going to look something like that. Now, because I'm using a black shoe, I'm going to use white material simply so you can see the difference. I'm choosing a 1/2 inch or 12 millimeter EVA. I'm using white. It's 55 durometer, but it can be even more, up to 70 if you have a heavier person. I've cut it already to the shape I want, roughly overhanging it slightly, but that's roughly what I want. Now I'm going to need to modify the material so it fits the shape of the bottom of the shoe a little bit more, because again, the idea is that we support this area but not push into it too much. So we really want to just cup it and buttress it well. So as your notes say, you're going to go at where the material itself hits the side of the shoe, start and go 12 millimeter, draw a 12 millimeter line following the line and contour of the shoe. So we're going to do it like this. So it's really just following the contour of this shoe shape. Same thing at this end, at the toe end. So we're going to go 12 millimeter shape contouring the shoe itself. And we want to get rid of this material and this material so that when you place it against the shoe, it actually sits in better to fill in the gap to support the medial arch area better. At the same time, while you're grinding, you're going to want to grind the edges off smoother to the edge so it's skived closer and it's buttressed or shaped well to this area. I've gone ahead and done this grinding on the mate to this shoe so that we have a fit closer to this effect. So it'll fit, again, closer to this area. You can see now that I've eliminated some of the material, it sits closer to the edge and it fits to the shaping better. So now even when we heat the material up, there isn't a lot of pressure in order to conform and glue well. It's even buttressed well into the sole, into the side of the shoe by buttressing, just by the shaping that we've done with the material itself. You can see how it really just cups and holds it up. I next, after doing the material on the buttress, I've gone ahead and skived the side of the shoe itself with the grinder. You can use sandpaper, you can use a Dremel, but you want to rough up the material so that it's gluable. Otherwise the glue won't adhere well. And also, I actually eliminated a little bit of the side of the shoe. So the shoe that flares out at the midsole here, I've eliminated a little bit of that. So I have a flatter, smoother surface in which the glue will hold better, so that the EVA buttress will adhere. It's all about holding well. So I've gone ahead and glued both the buttress material and the shoe itself twice in advance on an additional shoe. And I glued it, I heated the buttress material in the oven for a few minutes to become more pliable, and I adhered it to the shoe itself. I then ground off very, very carefully from underneath, because the key, of course, is to support this area of the foot and shoe itself. You don't want to allow the medial longitudinal arch to collapse. So you really need to be really cautious that the bottom or distal end or inferior end of the material is flat to the ground, so it's supporting the shoe and the foot inside. You really need to be careful that it sits flat. So when someone stands in here, it's actually supporting and doing its job. Lastly, I simply use the edge of the grinder to put a straight line through the material right at the junction of the upper and the midsole, just so it gives a better line for the eye to follow, so it looks more aesthetically pleasing. And finally, if you're using black especially, you can spray paint it to give it a finished look. And really, when someone looks at a shoe like this, there shouldn't be something that is bold in the face, and it's more acceptable, so someone will use it. So again, the key points for a medial buttress is to first find the position that you need to place it in. You want to grind the material that you choose to fit according to the shape on the inner portion of the shoe. You want to prepare the shoe by buffing up the leather and gluing both sides of the shoe as well as the material, adhering the two together, and then ensuring a very flat base below. Thank you and good luck on your project.